Hi guys, it's Mare from Lilac Pages. That's the name of my Etsy shop. Here at YouTube, it's Lilac Spaces. If you haven't already, please click that subscribe button and like this video. Really would appreciate that support. Just coming to share with you my latest journal. It is a little vintage journal. And it is, let's see, approximately 7.5 by 5, 41 pages. I usually count just straight, but some people count front to back, which would be obviously 82. Packed with ephemera, another chunky one, like all my other journals. I've used some vintage lace, vintage doily here, some sewing. Here's a little vintage key that I've attached to the spine. Spine has been reinforced with Tyvek. Some of the pages, most of my pages are reinforced with washi tape or pieces of material. My pages tend to be very embellished, so to make up for that weight, I have to secure them. So anyway, I've just closed it up with a piece of fabric here, did some sewing to attach two pieces. It is just some cotton cream color. It is a vintage book, 6 little bunkers at Grandpa Ford's. Thought it was super cute. I have put a little coating, I think Tim Holtz little sealer over there. I didn't want it to chip away anymore, but I just think it is super cute. Added a little embellishment there. Enjoy the journey. Let's see, what else can I tell you about it? There's all the pages decorated. Let's just get started. I've had a pocket here on the end that I've coffee dyed, lots of little clusters in this book. I have a lot of collaging. This is one of my, I make them in 12 by 12 sheets usually, or sometimes a roll of lots of collaging that I've attached here. Did some sewing, little metal reinforcements on the corners here, some Tim Holtz fabric, a little paper doll, Tim Holtz. Just some pieces of paper here that have to do with the library. Here's a vintage Dewey Decimal card with some lines that I've stamped on the back, and that just sits in there. I'm going to put that back later, just for time's sake. I've made a pocket here. There's some vintage doily here. I made these flowers out of some lace collaging that I've done and did some sewing there. I believe this is Victoria Designs on Etsy. And I've just decoupaged a tag here, put some lines on back, and another printable journaling card to go with it. I can lay that down, I think I'm close enough. Coffee dyed paper, some vintage ledger, little memories thing here. Vintage book page, I believe this is highlights. Coffee dyed paper, this is a bluish green color. An original vintage photo, and I've just used this paper clip here to attach a little service card, I think it is, focal parts. Lots of nice little lines on there. It is vintage, great for journaling. And some more collaging that I did. I think this one was carpet tape, and that vintage tape that everyone is making, added some of that. Just altered paper clip here with a decoupage envelope, and I just added a little vintage postcard. Obviously you can put a little picture in there. I just thought that was really pretty. I will attach that back later. Made this little house. It says home here, and a little door that has little papers on it. Tim Holtz paper doll here, some washi tape. Made a couple little lined little cards here. There is paper in the back for some extra writing space. Made this little charm. I made a bunch of them, all different sizes. Little charm here, heavily coated, and a little key. Little cluster here, tuck spot with a couple little cards that I've backed with some coffee dyed paper. Washi tape, some writing space, just some lined paper here, some Tim Holtz ephemera that I've made into a tuck, did some sewing, a couple little cards in there. Little tuck spot here with some vintage ephemera. And on this vintage book page, one of my eco-dyed papers, the Edith Holden. Made an area, here's another little vintage picture, added some of that tape on it, but you could put any picture in there. Glassine bag here that I decorated with some of my collage. And that's just a little note from a little schoolmate. And I'll let the owner read that. I think that's just super cute. So I've put it in the bag here. Lined paper. In the center, I've added some homemade washi tape and just some charms on the end. Let's see, this one is story, a little envelope, some more collaging here. Just made a little book out of a vintage playing cards. Little booklet there, some vintage doily, Tim Holtz fabric. Another tuck spot with some collaging. Put this little cluster on it. Made a little booklet with some extra writing space on this vintage. I think it's a game paper, eco-dyed paper. Great area for a picture. Some lined paper. Another cluster on the tape, or some collaging. Little ephemera, Tim Holtz. Uno scorecard sheet, and this little ditto store paper. And that's like a vintage piece from a telephone book. And I've just put that on there for some journaling space. Here as well, vintage music paper, some washi tape, some rice paper that I thought was just super pretty. Here's another little cluster that I've used for a tuck. Glassine bag, a couple little tags in there for the owner to put wherever they want. A little vintage radiogram sheet. Little tuck spot, we'll remember this. Vintage book page, area for journaling. Here's an original vintage picture and a couple little sheets of paper. And that is a vintage postcard of a general store, it looks like. Little piece of a embroidered vintage tablecloth, I believe. And just did some stamping here. And rusted paper clip. Another little tuck area with this little file folder. That's been inked. Great area for a little something. Vintage ledger sheet. And this just has one of those little clips that I have rusted. A little book charm there. And it's just a pocket that I have made this little booklet out of a flash card. Put some paper there. Little tiny staples from the Tim Holtz attacher. Tiny attacher. Stick that in there. Little pocket. Okay. A little spot here that stays in there. It's been taped with this little vintage style tape. A little vintage card there. Vintage looking card. And I just thought this was super cute, this old book page. I believe it's Piglet, I believe. And there's a little teddy bear there. A teddy bear charm and just some strips of paper for journaling. Attach this decoupage envelope here. A couple pieces of ephemera here to journal on. And this picture is removable. It is an original picture of this little girl. It's just super sweet. It just fits inside there, and use that as a tuck. A little pocket here, decoupage tag. A little vintage tag here. And this is a little vintage ephemera here. And that's just I believe that's a copy of one. And this is a vintage book page, a book that I have. And this little pocket here with this little booklet. I believe this is Stamperia paper. This is some vintage ledger here, vintage book page ledger. And here's just a clip-on. This has a magnet. Clips closed, so it can be moved to anywhere in your journal. Lots of decoupage on here. Turn it around, and it's got some paper here. Did some stamping on some coffee-dyed paper. Need a little pocket here, a little cluster. This is removable. So you could put, I lined it too. You could put anything you want in there. Just tucks in there. Put a little charm. Remember the moments. This side has a lot of cluster here. Vintage style card. Little bag with some little ephemera in there. In that pocket. Little tuck spot here. Little area for writing. That comes out of the envelope. Little tickets. I think it's Victoria Designs. This is from a vintage book, Vintage Doily. A little guest check made into a pocket. Some vintage ephemera in here as well. Vintage style paper here. There are charms on this center of this signature as well. Follow your heart. A little heart here. Made this little foldable envelope with some decoupage on it. A couple pieces of ephemera in there. And just a writing sheet here. Made this out of some vintage quilt. It's a flip, but I've also attached some tiny little things, little bow, a little piece of ephemera, flower, a button. And that flips. I also collaged the hinge piece here, put some paper there. Vintage coffee dyed paper, and that just made this envelope. I think it's a junk mail envelope. Decoupaged vintage photo here. And I also did the inside, so the back would be cute as well. Some of that paper. Made this tag. Collaged it, put some lines on the back. Little journal sheet there. Altered paper clip with some vintage lace. Little pocket here. Vintage postcard. I just added some writing space on it. It's like a business postcard. A little clip here. I think that's a story on it. And it's just a little pocket here with some ephemera. Little scorecard. Yeah, the tuck spot has a couple little things in it. Little ticket. Little card here. Be cute with a little photo maybe. There's a little tuck spot and some collaging. I put a little tag down here. This is a watch repair sheet. It's got lots of lines in it. Great for journaling. Here's a little collage tuck, a cluster, some paper here, and the vintage sheet for a service call. Another little piece of paper here that's vintage. And that just tucks in there. Well, I'll do that in a little bit. Okay, little pad of paper here that I've placed on this sheet. Washi. Here's the back. Another cluster. Tim Holtz picture here and photo booth pictures. And just a little piece of ephemera there. And that tucks in there. The back has some more of that collage work. I've made a pocket here with some sewing. Another one of those labels. Made this little booklet with the paper. Sits in there. Little coffee dyed tag. Then more of that collage work in the back. And then it has a pocket as well with a vintage postcard that sits back there. And that is it. It will be available in my Etsy shop. Again, thanks for watching and have a great day.